What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. I'm here with Gab and Maui. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Yeah!
Another
Nakapagod to
episode.
4 games, UAP! Come on!
Oo nga,
Grabe yung
nakakapagod.
4
4
day,
Sando Gab is
4 game
back.
days.
Correct. Another four-game day. So that's our third straight four-game day. Last Wednesday, we had a four-game day. Saturday, we had a four-game day. Today, another four-game day. Fortunately for us, the fans, we will have two games per day this weekend. Saturday game, two games on the Saturday, two games on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, we're back to that. So today we are going to talk about uh our ballers and boleros for the day. It's a segment that we like to do here at Boleros, and I think some of our subscribers have been requesting for another ballers and boleros round. So this one is for you. Before we start, if you guys have your own baller and bolero, comment them down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts also. So let's get things started. Let's start positive. Let's go positive naman. I think we started with the boleros last time. Let's start with the ballers. Maui, sino ang baller of the day mo?
Oo,
Or
Naka-green
ballers?
ka. Yung dapat tama
alam
sagot
niyo
mo.
yan. Alam niyo yan. Kilala niyo ako, kaibigan niyo ako. Never niyo ako makikita naka-green. But today, I decided to wear green. This is not my shirt. I don't have a green shirt. This is my brother's shirt, so I'm wearing green. So,
Special edition.
yeah, special edition para sa bowlers and boleros natin today. But yeah, my bowler for this week, and actually not just this week, but really yung season is one of the top players right now is Kevin Kiambao. This guy is playing out of his mind. Yung 23-0 run ng Lasal kanina was crazy. I think Adamson was shocked as shocked as us when it happened. That alley-oop play to Mike Phillips, napatalon ako ng upuan ko. You don't see those types of plays in the UAAP. You don't see an alley-oop poster dunk in the UAAP. I think even Kevin Kiambao was shocked to see that alley-oop dunk when they completed the play. Kevin Kiambao has really impressed me a lot this season. We saw some flashes nung off-season of his improved game. I think yung 3-point shot is yung most common na minimension ng people. But for me, is one of the things that he has really improved on this season is yung mobility niya. Lasal has been able to run him as a small forward. It's crazy. If you saw Kevin Kiambao 2 years ago, he was just a big man who had a high motor and had a single floater as a move.
Yes,
And
floater
some
lang
nifty
yan.
passes. Now you barely even see that floater. It's usually pull up jumpers in the mid range or catch and shoot 3-pointers. Sometimes even 3-pointers in motion. It's crazy. Kevin Kiambao is, you can't say revolutionizing the position, but I think Lasal has really done a good job with its big man. Si Mike Phillips is also shooting more 3-pointers. Si Mike Phillips is also creating off the dribble. This is what we were excited about when Coach Topex was announced as Lasal coach. He is also a bolero. He is also a bowler of the week for me. He is revolutionizing yung
Biglang nag-U-turn eh. Bolero
positionless basketball in the UAAP. This is good for the league. This is good for the future of Philippine basketball. And this is good for the future of the players most definitely. Players such as Kiambao would probably not get to play abroad. He's a 6'4", 6'5" at best power forward before. Power forward center. If you watched him sa Gilas, he was playing center. And now he is able to translate his game into that small forward slot. So, yeah, Kiambao had another big game, another double-double with 6 assists kanina. It's crazy. I'm excited where it happens. The question for me is, will this really be his last year? I think I think it's warranted to debate. Gab.
You asked about the versatility, Maui. It was also in the earlier game. He was running pick and rolls as the ball handler. 6'5". I think Coach Willie Wilson, I think, called it out. He was running pick and rolls a couple of times, uh, creating plays from that set. Grabe evolution ni Kevin Kiambao. But I also have to give a shout out to Evanelli. I think he had 15 rebounds in the game earlier. Uh, just controlled the game, controlled the offense, stabilized that offense. And LaSalle's press, my God, in the first quarter. Adamson could not break that press for a good 3 to 4 minutes. I think LaSalle stole the ball 6 straight times, if I'm not mistaken. So, grabe, what a blitz LaSalle did on Adamson. But kudos to Adamson for staying consistent and keeping the game close up until the Kevin Kiambao explosion in the third quarter. Wow, I can't say anything more about Kevin Kiambao. I might have to move him up a couple of spots. I might have to agree with your number two na and the MVP, not just stats MVP rankings. He's really impressive. He's
Another
really impressive.
solid performance by KQ, no? Sorry, Gab, go. Sino naman ang mo for the week?
My baller for the day has to be Joseph Obasa. Joseph Obasa played, I think, his best game as an Ateneo Blue Eagle against UE a while ago. I don't have the numbers, maybe, but he did have, I think, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 5 block shots, protecting the rim.
6 block shots.
6? I'm sorry. Nagkulong pa isa. 6 block shots.
Joe Obasa.
Just outplayed. Yes, Joe Obasa. This is what we wanted to see. He's now the only center who's getting minutes. Well, he was the only center who was getting minutes in the game a while ago. Gio Chu has now been run out of now in the doghouse. He's now out of the rotation. I don't want to say thank God, but thank God. And Joe Obasa showed that he is in the running as possibly one of the best centers in the UAAP. I know it's early. I know it's only 4 games, but he showed flashes a while ago. He was very active. He didn't have the butterfingers a while ago. He was able to catch it inside the paint. Still had a bunch of crazy turnovers, but I think you can give him that. He was working so hard on the defensive end. And he outplayed Precious Momoway, who was on the number 3 of my MVP rankings. And he was the reason Ateneo won a while ago. Well, one of many reasons that Ateneo won a while ago. He was the main reason, I think. And I want to see more of this Joe Obasa. Sam or Maui?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I just had to really shout out Kevin Kiambao, but I think Joe Obasa also deserves a recognition. This is, without a doubt, from all the games that I've watched, this is the best I've seen Joseph Obasa. Definitely, we cannot compare. This is something I say to everyone who I talk to about Joe Obasa. We cannot compare him to Ange Kwame, but this is the closest in terms of dominance that we've seen to Ange Kwame. For me, yung most impressive talaga was yung blocks. If you watch Ateneo games and if you look at the stat sheet, I know Coach Tab says, don't look at the stat sheet, you look at different things. One of the things that stands out right now for Ateneo is the number of uncontested layups that their opponent gets. I think Obasa establishing himself as an interior defender is really gonna pay dividends for Ateneo. Sorry to Gio Chu. We have been rooting for Gio Chu for the past 2 years, but unfortunately, despite another strong preseason, it doesn't look like that it's gonna translate in the UAAP. So for the center position, Ateneo really has to rely a lot on Joseph Obasa. Sam,
Yeah, I think you covered everything. What I like about Obasa's game is it's not really that flashy or hindi mo siya mapapansin, no? Very simple, reliable big man. Again, hard to compare to Ange Kwame, obviously. If ikaw compare, no one can compare to Ange Kwame except obviously Diouf and maybe Ben Embala. So kind of hard to put him up there with Kwame, but I think he's slowly getting the hang of it, getting the hang of playing in the UAAP. The earlier games, I think, wasn't so good for Joe Obasa. Personally, I didn't like some of his games, but this one definitely is a statement game for him, and I think he mentioned it during the post game interview. There's still a lot of room for growth. It was either him or Kai who mentioned it. So still not a perfect game for Ateneo or not an overall good game according to the team. So we'll see where that leads them. Okay. I'm for ballers. Uh Sige, I also had Lasal actually as my ballers for the day just because they've been winning convincingly just today and also actually for the week because after that loss to Ateneo, Lasal has bounced back. And I would say they are really scary so far in the two games that they've played in after that loss to Ateneo. You mentioned KQ Maui. KQ has been consistent. Gab, you also mentioned Evan Nele. Shout out also to Mike Phillips, who finally had,
Kala
I
ko
think, a
Joaquin
bounce
Manuel
back.
sabihin mo eh.
I
Hindi,
was
lagi na yata yung shout out eh. Lagi na
I
yata
really
yung
thought,
shout.
no joke, I really thought si Joaquin Manuel sasabihin mo because I also see some consistency in him.
He played
That's true.
well. He
That's
played
true.
well.
He played well, but I wanted to shout out Mike Phillips kasi he was quiet the past two. He was quiet against Ateneo. I think in the last game hindi din siya masyado gumawa. I think if I remember correctly, but obviously tambak na yung USD noon. Yung highlight lang ni Mike Phillips nung USD game, I think was like playing with his brothers. Uh, na interview sila. But anyway, today was like a really good game for Mike Phillips, highlighted by that KQ fast break alley-oop na kahit ako din Maui napatayo parang whoa, that came out of nowhere. So Lasal definitely ballers for me. Pero you know what? I'm gonna give a runner up pick for Adamson also. Despite losing today's game, I think Adamson has, proven that they can compete without Jerome Lastimosa. And I think a lot of the people in the comments, a lot of our subscribers in the comment section called us out on like putting Adamson in the bottom three of our rankings in the previous episodes. Ako I
Except
super under
me.
except Gab. Gab actually rated Adamson higher. I was the one who rated Adamson really low. I super underrated them. I admit my mistake. Except for today's game, I know again like Lasal finally slowed down si Baby Boy. But they also tried to fight back. To be fair to Adamson, they tried to fight back even after that 23-0 run by Lasal. It was just too big of a hole for them to come back again, similar to what they did against Ateneo. So I just have to shout out Adamson kasi I admit
And it's
nagkamali ako and I think Adamson deserves some credit still.
it's interesting also how their team is composed. They don't have one single great player like Jerome Lastimosa in the past. Yes, they have yung baby boy Manzano. He's there. He's kind of the guy who you can give the ball to if you need offense. But they just have a lot of good veteran players and some rookies here and there. But they have a lot of good veteran players. Matt Erolon is finally healthy. I do remember in season 84 he did have a game-winning shot. I forgot. I think it was against LaSalle. I'm trying to remember, but he did have a game-winning shot. But he's a shooter. He showed it earlier. He showed it in the past few games that he can hit threes. This guy, Kalisay, Johnny
Kalisay, kanina,
Kalisay.
oo.
Yeah,
Top
he can
scorer
hit
nila
threes
kanina.
too. Vince Magbuhos, Joshua Yero, he still has not gotten going, but he's a good player supposedly. Joem Sobanda, so they're getting it done with team basketball. A lot of good players. So very happy to see that. I've always said, especially last season, that they play better when Jerome is actually off the floor. Uh, I do want to make a comment on that. They play better when they don't make the offense all about Jerome Lastimosa.
And to be fair,
Even
meron
with
tayong subscribers that commented that, Gab, no?
Yeah.
Some subscribers
I think sa preseason
pointed that out.
power rankings natin yun. Well, my preseason power rankings.
Yeah. Well, like we saw in the second round last season, when Jerome was kind of taking a backseat, he did have an injured toe. They played really well when Jerome was not taking the burden of trying to create all the offense for Adamson. They played really well because they were sharing the basketball. They were getting wide open shots for their shooters. And this is how they're playing now. You mentioned the blitz lang sila ng LaSalle kanina, but I think in the first half, they were moving the ball
They
around,
led.
getting open
Yeah,
shots.
they led the game.
They
during
led,
the first
yes.
half.
Yep. And they
Despite
led. So I think
despite the fiasco in turnovers because of the press during the first quarter.
yes, exactly. And they play tough defense, even if they don't play with Ojarikre that often, they hustle and they can rebound. Well, kanina, medyo nahirapan sila with the height of LaSalle, but Baby Boy is a beast underneath and he can dominate the glass. That is the reason why I put them higher in the second version of the power rankings because I saw how they played. Kahit na tinambakan sila ng UP, makita mo yung laro nila. Sobrang organized, very disciplined. They know who to look for. They know how to move the ball. So yeah, I agree with Adamson. Can I name a runner-up
Go.
or two?
Ako,
I do want to give.
also.
Sige. Sige. I'll
After you,
I'll
Gab,
name
go
one
ahead.
first. My runner-up for Baller of the Week has to be me, Gab Lim, because last season, in our season 85 recap, I was the only one who said, watch out for this guy Bautista from FEU. I was the only one. I was the only one on the Joric Bautista train. And finally, the two of you noticed him a while ago when he finally got hot. And I've been saying that this guy can actually contribute. He's a stable guard. I think he has same quickness and same handles as Royce Alforque, but he can shoot. I watched him last season, season 85. I thought that, if they could run more stuff through him, it'll be good for him. It'll be good for FU, and we saw it, and we've seen it actually this season. He scored in double figures in 3 of the 4 games, and earlier he had 23 points? Was it 23? I'm trying to remember. It was, diba? 23 points.
Today, 26. 6 of 6 from 3-point line. 6 of 6
points
from the 3-point line.
So, despite, we could have given FEU a Bolero of the day, but after their painful loss, I was kind of hesitant. But I am gonna give a bright spot to them that they found a weapon in Joric Bautista, and you can look back. Anyone who has been a subscriber since season 85, I did mention him in our season 85 recap. I'm a baller of the week. Yeah, Maui.
Ayop ka talaga. Just some comments on also on the Adamson side. I think ako yung gumawa ng power ranking, so I also have to admit I underestimated this team. They are a team to watch out for, especially if Jerome Lastimosa gets healthy. I think if they can integrate Jerome back, they will be a very good team. But I think the biggest surprise for me is really how they are doing it without Duanga and Manlapas, two of their key cogs from last season also. So really, I have to give credits to Coach Nash and the coaching staff. He is deploying modern coaching. You see timeouts when it's the offensive end. Si Gilbert Lawang nagsiset ng play. That's not very common here in the Philippines. If you're the head coach, you set a play. But if you watch the NBA, some of the teams, like I think Golden State also does this. They have a special assistant coach who calls the shots, who sets up the play. So credits to the coaching staff of Adamson. I'm happy. I mean, imagine if another team was 0-4. I'm happy that Adamson is contending. But yeah, also I would like to call out lang kasi baka magalit UP fans sa akin. So yung baller of the week ko talaga, another honorable mention for me sa baller of the week has to be the NU Maroons. It has to be Janjan Pelesilda and Raylan Torres.
the NU Maroons.
NU Maroons.
Yeah, intended that.
Kala ko
Either the
nagkamali ka eh.
UP Bulldogs or the NU Maroons. So these two guys who transferred to Diliman, I think they really, without their play kanina, UP could have lost that game. Raylan Torres hit a game-tying three-pointer, I think in regulation. Janjan Pelesilda was crazy in the second half. I think he scored all of his points.
Out of his mind.
All of his points, 17 points. Minions. We love Minions. Shout out to Miko Halili. Janjan Pelesilda is that.
JJF. JJF.
Yeah, JJF is the epitome of that minion. A small guy who's not scared of anyone. So I have to call out Janjan Pelesilda had this breakout game as a Maroon. We all know what he was capable of. He finally showed out. Without him, I don't think they would have won that game. Alarcon was not performing as well. So yun, I think they should also be warranted as ballers of the week.
And they played their first close game of the season. And they won. Diba? All of their 3 wins have been blowouts. Now they finally had a close game, went into overtime, and they made clutch plays. And that's the thing about being dominant. No, sometimes when you get into a close game, it kind of changes the dynamic. It's kind of hard now to execute, harder to execute. But they showed poise, except for the Malik Juf tip in. I think their execution in the fourth quarter and overtime was really good. They made their shots, showed the composure of a team that's gone to the finals and won a championship. Excellent day for UP. Excellent win for UP. Yung getting a close win over FEU. Sammy.
Okay, let's move on. We've been talking about our ballers. Unfortunately, we also have to name our boleros. Boleros for the day. Let's start with you, Gab, this time. Who's your bolero for the day?
I hate it, but we gotta give it to UST. Grabe ang sakit nila panoorin. Grabe talaga. Except for Christian Manaytay. Siya lang yung mga napapanood ko, natutuwa ako kasi ang ganda ng footwork niya. Pero all others, oh my goodness. They're so difficult to watch. They turn the ball over a lot. They just they run Nick Cabanero to the ground, even though he got injured a while ago. They still try to run him to the ground. Coach Pido was not talking to his team in the second half. Did not want to talk to his team. I think he's had enough as well.
Masyadong maaga nagpakalbo. Di ba usually yan, mid-team na nagpapakalbo?
But yeah, UST, man. I think Maui mentioned it in our chat a while ago. This looks like another lost season for UST. And I would add another lost season for Nick Cabanero. Grabe, it must hurt to be him, man. It must hurt. He really wants to win. I mean, he showed it last season, man. He wants to win. He just doesn't have any help at this point. it's just so sad to watch UST. Uh, Aside from the Adamson game where they showed a little bit of fight, wala hirap. And Omar John dominated a while ago. NU was scoring inside at will. And then once they scored inside, now they were shooting from the outside. They were too much for UST. And I think my quote unquote hot take from the It's Just Two Games podcast that they'll be lucky to get two
Yeah,
wins. I
I was
think
gonna say.
I think they'll be lucky to even get one. Kasi oh
Sabagay,
my god,
yeah.
horrible play. Yun lang. Like, they're a bolero. Maui, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was about to say that, Gab, nga, na you mentioned during one of our previous episodes that they'd be lucky to win 2 games. Now you're saying that they'll be lucky to win 1 game. Last season, they lost their last 13 games. I mentioned to you guys, I think yung varsity Twitter ng UST, yung Tomashan, mentioned that they haven't won a game, I think, in 600 days. It's crazy. I mean, UST has been a staple in any sport in the UAAP. They are probably the school that has won the overall championship the most.
The
Ever
most,
since
yeah.
ever since when I was young, they always win those championships, and they're consistent in all sports, including basketball. They've always been a good team, but it's it looks like another lost season. They installed Pido Horencio to try to reignite the program, and it's still the same. All of their games were ugly, despite I think just the Adamson game was supposed to be a winnable game. It's ironic kasi Adamson din yung natalo nila last season, 'di ba? But yeah, we gotta give UST Bolero of the week, Bolero of the season so far, definitely. I think
Whoa.
I think
Hold your
I think
horses.
si Gab mentioned they're 0-4, but it's a lot different from a team like FEU, who's also 0-4. FEU is a team that has contended on most of their games, probably all of their games. Yeah, I think all of their games. They are the team that almost went toe that went no not almost that went toe to toe against UP, a team that has been that has been winning by double figures. So I don't think we can call FEU a Bolero of the season as much as UST. So yeah, I agree definitely, Gab, with UST as your
And
Bolero
you
of the
can see
day.
from FEU that it's about malapit na that they're gonna break that win column. They're
Yeah.
gonna go into that because they've been playing well. They've been playing better.
Yes, they have.
UST since the Adamson game, parang they've been playing downwards on a downward spiral. They've been playing worse. Which is, diba? You expect yung coming from a loss na babawi sila eh. Pero parang hindi eh. Yung FEU, yung makita mo eh, na may trajectory yung pataas eh. UST wala.
Masyadong maaga nga nagpakalbo.
Sam.
Sige. So now that you mentioned FEU, I have to move on to my Bolero. My Bolero has to be FEU. Bolero for the day. And I'm not saying na tama naman kayo, 'di ba? Si FEU, you can see the fight eh. You can see that they're better. Pero Bolero pa rin kasi ang sakit. Sakit ng mga talo nila. That's two straight games na ang close wins, and we're about this before we started the podcast. How nice would have been that? Would have been such a great story for FEU, pero unfortunately hindi sila nanalo. And they're 0-4. Next game nila is against Ateneo this Saturday. If they lose that, they'll be back to 0-5, just like last time, no? So FEU has to be a Bolero, but on top of that, si Cholo Año Nuevo got injured.
Yeah.
Si Cholo Año Nuevo got injured. So I don't know yung status niya. I'm not sure if you guys heard kung ano yung hand injury niya, or is it going to be is it a serious hand injury? Uh, but he wasn't there last game, and we've been talking about how good Cholo Año has been so far. So if they lose Cholo Año for an extended period of time, I think it's going to be even more difficult for FEU to compete. So definitely FEU has to be a Bolero for me of the day, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I can agree also on that. I mentioned Gab mentioned that there were bright spots sa FU. I think that's one thing that they can look forward to. Unlike like UST, it's looking like a downward slope. But we've been calling this since the start of the season. We don't want to see FU start 0-5. It might happen this Saturday. So yeah, I have to agree with Sam's sentiments regarding FEU as a bolero of the day also.
Si Maui, it might happen this Saturday. Yung porkit kalaban natin Neo eh.
Hindi!
Boise!
Hindi! We've been saying this. Di ba? We've been saying this from the start when FEU lost their first 2 games pa lang. We've been saying this that they cannot start 0-5 because they themselves know that that's too big of a hole to climb up from last season. Yeah.
And yung tama ka Sam eh, kind of bolero sila because they lost the game a while ago when they had chances to win the game. We talked about this review before we came.
They had a lot of chances to win the game.
They had so many chances to win this game. The standout to me was that second to the last possession in regulation where Coach Denok did not call a timeout. LJ Gonzalez drove to the paint, dropped it off to Ona, and Ona threw it to the backcourt. And instead of wasting time to let the ball roll, was it Sleet? Sleet picked it up, which allowed UP to call a timeout, and they almost lost the game, if not for a Malik Juve basket interference. Then also in overtime, they couldn't secure the rebound in those crucial free throws, but by I think Raylan Torres, and just shooting bad shots and committing bad turnovers. Sayang. They made big shots. Kudos to them. They made big shots, but they also had costly mistakes at the worst times. So yeah, I do agree they are a bolero of the week. Not as much as UST though.
Yeah.
By the way, just since you mentioned yung Diouf tip in, I have to give him a mini bolero of the day because of that tip in. Pero I really love Malik Diouf. They showed him on camera. If you were watching the game, they showed him on camera while they were reviewing the tape, and tawa lang siya ng tawa. Tapos inaamin niya, like you could see him saying, yeah, I tipped it, I touched it. He was admitting it. So he knew He knew. Kung ako yun, hindi ko yun aaminin. Wala, hindi ko yun nawakan. But man is just too nice.
He stole
He
Francis
was admitting
Lopez's UAAP moment. Yun na yung moment of Francis Lopez.
Exactly. Ang ganda na yun, diba? Game winner ni Lopez. I don't think it was even drawn that way, diba? Na Lopez was supposed to do like a fadeaway. I think it was sort of like a broken play, but Lopez still made the shot. Si
Parang off a lap eh.
Mini bolero
diba?
idea.
Parang off a lap.
Yeah.
Parang off a lap yung
exactly.
Yung pass.
That was the original play. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, Dio for stealing Francis's game winner mini bolero for you. But
yeah.
I'm a big fan. I'm an even bigger fan now. Maui.
Yeah. So ako na lang din nag-mention ng bolero of the week ko. I have 3 players and it's really more or less the same reasons for these 3 players. I have to name SJ Moore, Gio Chu, and Harold Alarcon. Those 3 players are my boleros of the day. Not even of the day, of the season. Because of all the hype of all the people during the off-season, I think si Harold Alarcon has a big chance naman to, he still has the minutes, he still has the usage. So he can most likely turn our heads around again. So yung main reason is these three players were hyped during the preseason a lot by their respective schools. I think UST was hyping us up with SJ Moore, which is why we put UST on the top, I think top 5 ng preseason rankings namin. But so far, SJ Moore hasn't even, I don't think he probably has scored a few baskets, hasn't had an impact. And to me, it's a bit concerning kasi this is a team, UST is a team that's very weak, that needs guys who can create, get usage, and yet he's not performing. You gotta question what will happen once the key recruits enter come season 87. Next is Gio Chu. All three of us guys, naloko na naman tayo ni Gio Chu for the second or third straight season. All the off-season hype, playing for Gilas and everything, playing good during those games, played internationally, whether it was for Gilas or Ateneo. And again, when the UAP season started, he is unplayable for Ateneo. So far, he has been horrendous. I hope Gio Chu wakes up in the better side of the bed and turns around this season, because this is, as we mentioned before, I think this is his last UAP season. Kahit si Isaac Go was hyping him before na definitely Gio Chu will be better than me. But now, Ateneos decided to run Amos and Balungay on the 5 just so that they will not play him. It's crazy. So those three are my Boleros so far of the day for the season. Just because there were a lot of expectations and they have not delivered so far.
Sakit ng Gio-Chu, pare. Sakit talaga ng Gio-Chu. Every time you mention him, masakit.
Just to comment on Harold Alarcon, we talked about this. It's a luxury for UP na their star players don't have to perform consistently or perform well every game and still win, because other players can step up and perform. As you mentioned, I think si Raylan Torres and si JJF really were big contributors for UP in today's game. So, UP can have a bad Harold Alarcon day. I think at the end of the day, when it comes to the finals and the championships, he will step up. I think he can still step up. He's shown to
sila
be...
ni Kagulangan, definitely.
Yeah, sila ni Kagulangan. Even Kagulangan, he doesn't have like a super
Coasting lang.
standout game yet, diba? So, coasting lang. Feel ko they're just chilling muna. Parang Lebron, diba? During the season, medyo chill muna yung mga stars. Pero,
salamat kay CJ Cancino, who has been also consistent every game.
I think that's worth mentioning. I think you tweeted about that, Maui. Cancino has been super consistent. Surprisingly, coming off that ACL injury din. Diba? Okay. So, that's it for our ballers and boleros for the day. If you have your own baller and bolero for the day, don't forget to comment them down below and let us know. So, we'll definitely look at all your comments and try to get back to as many as possible. If you haven't yet, don't forget, like and subscribe. Share the podcast to your friends. We appreciate all the comments, all the support, all the feedback. We love you all. Thank you. See you again next time.